What's up, everybody? It's your boy Devon Taylor here, aka Deezus, and this is my podcast, Deezus Take the Reel. No, this is not a religious podcast. Unless movies are your religion, in that case, consider me your Lord and Savior. Guys, I'm here to save you from shitty movies as we talk movies, we talk life, we get real weird, and that is the show. So, what's up, guys? Still trying to time my intro out with the intro music, but it will get there eventually. But yeah, what's up? My name is Devon, aka Deezus, and today on the show, every show has a different theme, and I'm usually joined by a guest. The first part of that for today is true. It does have a theme to it, but this is a solo episode. Solo episodes will pop up here and there, mainly whenever I can't get anybody to come on the show. So the theme of today's show is Netflix. I will be talking some hidden gems that I found on Netflix this year. These will be all 2016 releases that you can find and watch on Netflix now. They're not blockbusters. They're mainly indie films because, you know, one, I fucking hate blockbusters, and two, these are indie films that may not have gotten the exposure that they should have, or maybe they didn't get a theater release at all, and I'll be sharing them with you guys because we all know how hard it is to find good movies on Netflix. Nobody wants to scroll for fucking hours. That's what I'm here for. Like I said, I'm here to save you. So I will be giving you some hidden gems, but because this podcast is not sponsored by Netflix, I can't be just talking them up, you know, I can't be talking all the good. I am inherently a hater, and I gotta talk some shit, so I will be throwing some shade at Netflix with this new segment that I came up with. This is the total opposite of Netflix and chill. You know, Netflix and chill, you want to watch a real good movie, you want to get snuggled up with somebody, and you want to watch that movie with them naked. This is the opposite of it. This is Netflix and roast. This is when you are watching a very shitty movie by yourself, and you just hate on it. You just talk a bunch of shit. So every solo show, I will do Netflix and roast, as where I pick a very bad reviewed movie on Netflix, and I am going to roast it for 90 seconds. And for the beginning of this, like I said, this is a Netflix-centric episode, so I chose a Netflix original. And Netflix makes a lot of good decisions when it comes to TV. Movies, they've been a little bit hit or miss, and most of the misses have been with this special deal they struck up with Adam fucking Sandler. First off, before I get into roasting the movie or even telling you what the movie is, but I'm sure you figured it out by now, but I just gotta say, fuck you, Adam Sandler. I love that guy. His early 90s work, his early 2000s work. A few weeks ago, I had to make a case for Adam Sandler as the best 90s comedic actor, and I did. I made a very good case for him. He was my second choice behind Jim Carrey before anybody judges me, but I did make a very compelling case for it because he did dominate the 90s. He made so many hit movies, and then in the early 2000s, he made movies that maybe weren't as popular or people didn't like as much, but still had an impact on me because this was whenever I was, you know, finding the movies that I enjoyed. So I really liked his early 2000 stuff, and then he started making some real shit movies. And, you know, everybody goes through a rough patch, and I thought that's all this was. Oh, he has a couple stinkers, but, you know, we'll get something good on the next one. And then the next one would be bad. And then the next one would be bad. And then the bad one would get a sequel. And you're like, Adam Sandler, what are you doing? Stop just making shitty movies to make money. Because that's all he cares about now. He cares about the fucking dollar signs. So he makes a 3-movie deal with Netflix. And I've only watched one of them. And I only plan on watching one of them because it was so bad. These movies are shit. The Ridiculous Six is not just a shit movie, guys. This is an offensive movie. It's very offensive to Native Americans, to Mexicans, even to white people a little bit, but mainly Native Americans. The Ridiculous Six is so bad for many reasons, and the problem with The Ridiculous Six is it's trying to poke fun at certain things. It's trying to be very self-aware, but at the same time, it's taking itself seriously. And you gotta pick one or the other. You either gotta take this movie seriously and make a good movie, because like crazy enough, there is a good movie somewhere in here that could be made into a good movie if everything wasn't done completely wrong. They made all the wrong choices. This movie is super horrible. Adam Sandler, God, it just makes me mad that he made this movie, that he wrote this movie. It's so not funny and offensive and rude, and I'm just gonna go off on this movie for 90 seconds. So let me get 90 seconds on my timer here real quick. While I get this timer set up, let me just tell you guys, I did this for you guys. Because I hope this is entertaining. I hope this 90 seconds of burns will be worth it, because I sat through 2 hours of this movie And it is, oh my God, it's like painful. But I did it for you guys. Like I said, I am here to save you guys from shitty movies. These are the shitty movies that you should not watch on Netflix. So here we go, 90 seconds on the clock. And here we go. I took notes also, so hopefully I can make it through these notes as well and get through as many burns as I can. So here we go. All right. So this movie is so bad. It is one of the most horribly written comedies I've ever seen in my life. It's an excuse for a comedy. You can't even call it a fucking comedy because this movie is not funny. It had so many things in it that we're just asking why. Why did you do this? Why is there a donkey that just has explosive diarrhea? Are we still doing poop jokes, Adam Sandler? You're better than this. They are so offensive to Native Americans. So apparently, Adam Sandler thinks that all Native Americans have super mystical powers. So his character, who is a white man that is raised by Native Americans, can apparently make spit bombs out of random materials like some MacGyver. He has powers to make people seem like they're on an acid trip and hear voices. He has shape-shifting powers. This dude turns into a tumbleweed because he claims that he's one with the wind. That doesn't even make any sense. Adam Sandler in this movie is trying so hard. He's like trying to make an acting decision, and his voice that he's doing, talks like this, as if he's trying to hold in a fart or a shit. And guess what that fart or shit was? It was this movie. He should have held it in. Oh my God, this movie is so bad. Vanilla Ice is the best part of this movie, playing Mark Twain. And Vanilla Ice should not be the best part of any movie. This movie is so horrible. It barely should even count as a movie, as a comedy. Adam Sandler, you are offensive. I fucking hate you. You are one of the worst writers of all times. And fuck the ridiculous six. This movie is awful. Boom, 90 seconds, fit in as much shit talk as I can about that movie, and that's all I ever want to spend on it. I don't want to spend more than 90 seconds talking about this movie ever again. I kind of just hope that I forget about it. Oh, shit. I am so out of breath right now, but I will say that those 90 seconds were definitely worth it of wasting 2 hours of my evening last night. So that is a new segment I will be doing on all the solo shows. That is Netflix and Roast. I hope that definitely did not get you in the mood, because that's the point of this segment, to tell you about these shitty movies and not to watch them. So that was a fun little game, not a very fun viewing experience, but it is a fun game that I do and don't look forward to doing in the future, because like I said, I enjoy doing that segment, but at the same time, I don't look forward to having to watch a shitty movie, like knowing that it's about to be really shitty, but that's okay. Like I said, it is for you. For you, yes, for you. All right, anyways, before we get into the good side of the show, the Netflix hidden gems, I have a quick shout out to do real quick to my boy Manning Franks. He rated and reviewed me on iTunes, gave me a nice little 5-star review. I said at the beginning of all the episodes, I believe, that if you rate and review me on iTunes and give me 5 stars, I will give you a shout out on Twitter. I'll give you a shout out on the show. So I will read this review real quick from Mr. Manning Franks. Manning Franks is a friend, but like an internet friend. So like, I don't really know him, but I do know him. And he is a wonderful man. He has very nice hair and a nice beard. He's very beautiful to look at, but he also is very fun to talk movies with. We have definitely had some very fun debates and arguments, but at the same time, I do respect his opinions. He is a very cool guy. So thank you so much for the review, and here it is for you guys. I wanted to listen to 3 consecutive podcasts before I recommended it. However, now that the formalities are out of the way, I can confidently say that this is a podcast to listen out for. Devon is an entertaining and engaging personality that gives that extra kick of suave to keep your earbuds or headphones in. Just like his love for Nightmare Before Christmas, his film knowledge is vast yet down to earth. If you want something to keep you thinking, laughing, or just plain old entertained, keep listening as Deezus Takes the Reel. Oh man, that is so sweet. It makes my day whenever I look on iTunes and there's a new review. Thank you so much, Manning. But the rates and reviews do me a big solid on the show. It gets me on the iTunes charts, and the more you guys talk about it, the more other people can hear about it. So if you are listening and you want to give your boy a shout out on iTunes, I will give you a shout out in return. All right, now on to the good stuff. 2016 has been a lot of things, especially as of recently, this past month, it's been pretty rough. But I can confidently say that 2016 has been a fantastic year for movies. It has been such a good year for movies, one of the best of the past 10 years or so, I'd say. 2016 has just been really solid, a lot of variation, a lot of cool things that we're seeing, a lot of new things that we're seeing. And like I said at the beginning of the show, I'm not big into blockbusters. Indies are definitely my jam. And these are some indie films that I'm sure you haven't even heard of. If you're a non-movie person, movie nerds, you guys have probably heard of these movies. But for the casual moviegoer, this is more for you, this list, because like I said, who wants to sit and skim through Netflix for hours before you actually even pick something that you'll most likely fall asleep during? These are very fun, entertaining. These are outside the box films. These are not films that you're used to, but these are films that you can find on Netflix if you're feeling adventurous and you want to watch some really cool, weird, amazing movies. So out of the 200 or so movies I've watched this year, 99 of them have been 2016 releases. So as I tell you about each Netflix film, I'll also tell you where it ranks on my list of the entire year. And my final top 10 list will be coming out here pretty soon as 2016 comes to a close. So the first film coming in at number 51 on my 2016 rankings list is High Rise. This is a film, I believe it is based off of a book. It sets place in a dystopian near future, like not, super futuristic hoverboards, but like 15 years in the future. It stars Tom Hiddleston, Jeremy Irons, and Luke Evans. And in this film, pretty much the premise of it is these people live in this tower, but live only in the tower. Like their jobs are located in the tower, the grocery store, the schools, everything is in the tower. And what floor you live on is basically, what level of income you are. The rich people live on the top and they party and they drink and they do dumb shit and sleep with each other, and then the mid-level is, middle class, and then in the lower levels are the lower income families or the poor. And that's basically the way of what the movie is. It's the way the society unfolds, especially when certain things start happening, and it tests not only the people down low, but also the people up top as well. And halfway through this movie, it just gets real fucking weird, and I love that. I love when a film just goes off the rails, and that's exactly what this movie does. It's not very subtle about it either. It literally happens in one scene, and then the second half of this movie is just weird. You got people down to their primal instincts, and pretty much what the movie is asking is, what really matters, because once everybody is stripped down to the same level, because we all have the same basic human primal instincts, and you get to see that unfold between the lower class and the high class. And if none of that entices you enough, you get to see a naked Tom Hiddleston. No dong, but you do get to see a Hiddle butt. He is shaved everywhere. This man he looks like a Ken doll. So if you need any real motivation to watch this movie, there's naked Tom Hiddleston, and that's all that really matters. So High Rise, definitely a awesome, crazy movie that I saw earlier this year. It is at 51 out of 99, but don't let that fool you. That's not a bad ranking, because I don't really watch shit movies. So 51 out of 99 is still pretty solid. It's almost towards the top half of the list. Next up on the list, one of two horror movies I'll be talking about, because 2016 has had some killer horror movies. Yes, that pun was intended. It's easy. Sue me. But it's one of two horror movies that I really loved this year. There have been so many good horror movies. And, Netflix in general, you can always get a good horror film out of, because either A, it's going to be good and it's going to be scary, or B, it's going to be utter shit and you can have a good time getting drunk and smoking weed watching it. So you always have a good shot when it comes to Netflix and horror films. And so coming in at 47 out of my 99 2016 films is Hush. This movie, as soon as it came out, people were talking about it, because it takes a very simple premise. It takes a classic premise. It's a home invasion film, nothing crazy about it, and the only thing that's different about it is, one, the cast is very small. I think it's maybe 5 actors in this entire movie, but it's mainly a cat and mouse game between the person the invadee and the invader. So, but the woman that lives in this house, she's a writer. She lives very secluded out in the woods. And for one, you know, you always think why does this person live alone out in the middle of nowhere by themselves and put themselves in this situation? She actually has reasons for living out where she lives. And then on top of that, though, she is also deaf and mute. So this puts her at a disadvantage. And when there's a psychopath trying to break into her house and kill her, for none other reason than that, really. I love villains that don't really need a reason to be bad, that they're just bad because they are, and that's all this dude is doing. He just wants to, he's having fun playing this cat and mouse game, and he's trying to break in and kill her. But she is not a damsel in distress. Even though she has a disability, she is a very capable woman, and the way this cat and mouse game plays off, it's very tense. The sound design is very interesting because they'll have scenes where there's no sound at all to kind of, you know, put yourself in her position. It's a very fun watch, and it's pretty short too. I believe it's only like an hour and 25 minutes. So if you're wanting to watch something fun that you don't really have to invest too much brain power into, but have a very enjoyable watch, check out Hush on Netflix. It is fantastic. The killer is played by John Gallagher Jr., and he's one of my favorite upcoming actors right now, and he is fantastic in the role. So definitely check Hush out. It's definitely a good one. All right, so next up on the list, coming in at number 44 out of my 99 2016 releases, is another Netflix original, but it's one of their good ones, you know, not the ridiculous shit. This is The Fundamentals of Caring. It stars Paul Rudd, Selena Gomez, and Ass Juice. Yeah, you know, Ass Juice. I actually don't know this actor's name, and he comes up in a lot of things, but in the movie Neighbors, his name is Ass Juice, and he's one of the pledgees, and so every time I see him in a movie, that's all I can think about. I have no idea what this kid's real name is, so I'm just going to keep calling him Ass Juice, because it's hilarious. So you have this film. Paul Rudd is a new caregiver after, I believe he used to be a writer, and he has a tragedy happen to him, and so he goes and becomes a caregiver for like people with physical disabilities, and he gets paired with a teenager. I believe he's like 16 or 17, and he's very cynical. He has a very dark sense of humor. I believe he has MS is the disability he has, so he's confined to a wheelchair. He has limited movement besides his, you know, head, and limited movement of his arms. So you see this friendship grow between them because, like I said, the kid has a very dark sense of humor, and many caregivers could not handle him, but Paul Rudd's character matches up perfectly with him because, you know, Paul Rudd's fucking hilarious and amazing. So they eventually go on this road trip together, and it's a buddy road trip movie. Nothing super special about it, except that the fact that it is very heartbreaking at times when you see certain things happen to Ass Juice, and you learn about Paul Rudd's background like throughout the movie. Like they show, it's really cool the way they do it. There's a scene, and it's the same scene every time, but every time you see it, you get like an extra like 5 or 10 seconds of it until you see the whole scene play out, and then that's when you learn Paul Rudd's character's background. It's a super relatable movie because it definitely tugs at your emotions. It's a feel-good comedy, but at the same time, like I said, it does have those heartbreaking moments, and it's just a simple buddy road trip movie, and Selena Gomez isn't horrible in this. I loved Selena Gomez back in the Wizards of Waverly Place days, but movies have not seemed to be her thing lately. She should just stick to making mediocre music and being somewhat good-looking. But she's actually not terrible in this. She's pretty bad in Rudderless or Spring Breakers, if you've seen those. And this is probably Selena Gomez's best performance. So check out The Fundamentals of Caring. It is a pretty good film, and it's one of Netflix's better original films. All right, so next up on the list, it is number 31 out of 99, and this film is very special to me because it is a film written and directed as the directorial debut of one of my favorite screenwriters right now, Max Landis. Max Landis is, he wrote movies such as Chronicle, American Ultra, Mr. Right, Victor Frankenstein, and then this was his directorial debut. It's called Me, Him, Her. It's a simple little film. It's a film about friendship, about exploring your sexuality. It's a love letter to LA. So basically, the main character, he is a rising star. He's an actor, and he like got on a TV show, and he lives out in LA. and he just realizes that he's gay. He realizes that he's homosexual, so he calls his best friend, says, yo, I need you in town because I just realized I'm gay. And so his best friend comes into town, and it's them two getting into hijinks and shenanigans. And then the third member of their crew is a bisexual girl who has sex with a guy for the first time, so she's conflicted. Everybody's really conflicted in this movie, but it's a very relatable movie, especially for me and Tyler. We did a in-depth discussion video, which is on YouTube, Deezus Live. Check it out. Quick plug. But me, him, her, we did an in-depth discussion review of the movie. We talked about it for a good, 30 minutes or so. It's just a very fun, enjoyable film. It's super short as well. It is super funny, but you definitely have to have a certain sense of humor for it. So either you will like it and you'll laugh, or in my case, you will love it. You will fall in love with this film. I watched it like 3 times in 1 week just because it really hit home for me. And it's not technically that great of a film, I suppose. Like, you can tell it's a very low budget indie film for sure, but the emotions are there, the characters are there, the writing is there, and I absolutely love Max Landis. So check out Me, Him, Her on Netflix, and follow Max Landis on Twitter. He's a fantastic Twitter follow. Oh man, I love that man so much. He has a very unique signature style. Like, when you see Max Landis stuff, you can tell it's Max Landis, but he's doing things that other people in Hollywood aren't doing. So whether it's good, bad, I always say in film, I admire ambition, whether it works or not, at least if you're trying stuff. And that's what Max Landis does. He tries some stuff, he does things differently, he sings things in a different light, and I love everything he's involved with. So I definitely recommend checking out Me, Him, Her currently on Netflix. The last 2 films I'll be talking about cracked my top 15. One of them coming in at number 13 is Blue Jay. Blue Jay is a dramedy of sorts, I suppose. I mean, I wouldn't consider it a drama comedy. I guess it leans more on the drama side, but it is very funny. But Mark Duplass and Sarah Paulson star in this film. You guys know Sarah Paulson from American Horror Story and American Crime Story. And then you know Mark Duplass from The League. However, you do not know Mark Duplass if you haven't seen his movies. This man is seriously talented. He's a very gifted writer, but he's also a very gifted actor. I mean, he shows off his comedy. He shows off his comedic chops, obviously, in The League. That show is one of the funniest shows ever. I love that show so much. But then once I start watching his movies, he has these movies that make you think, they evoke emotions. He is a very strong actor, very strong writer. But the best part of these movies are, which I've been noting on some of these Netflix films, because you really do take this into account when you're picking a movie on Netflix, is the length of it. Most of Mark Duplass's movies are all about an hour and 20 minutes, and so is this one. It goes by very quick, but in that hour and 20 minutes, you get this complex relationship study. So pretty much Sarah Paulson and Mark Duplass, they are a couple that have broken up. They've been broken up for some time, and they reunite in their old hometown as Mark Duplass's mother passes away, and he's packing away his house. She joins him, and they revisit old memories in their childhood house. And then their, love starts to re-blossom. But as you watch the movie, you get to learn about Mark Duplass's character's background, who has a very tragic past, but you also get to learn what went wrong in the relationship, how long it's been, why they broke up, how they were back in that old relationship, how much they were in love. It is such a very tender movie. It's mainly those two on screen the majority of the time. So the fact that they carried this entire film says a lot. Their chemistry was fantastic. And this movie is shot in black and white, which works very well for the aesthetic of this film. It has a really elegant score to it. And like I said, it evokes a lot of emotion. Like, this movie really packs a lot in an hour and 20 minutes. And then the third act, once it hits its, emotional climax, it's so good. It's so satisfying. And it's just a fantastic movie, and it's very real. It feels very real as you watch this. You look like you're watching two people that are kind of rediscovering their love again, and you really believe them as a relationship. Like I said, Mark Duplass and Sarah Paulson were both fantastic in it. So check out Blue Jay if you're a romantic like me, or you want to get all up in your feels or something. Have a U night or something. I don't know. Or you want to cuddle up and watch it. It is a good Netflix and chill movie movie actually, I lied. It is not a Netflix and chill movie. You probably won't want to fuck after you watch this movie. You won't want to have sex. I lied. So don't Netflix and chill this movie, but do check it out. It is a fantastic film. And the last film that I'm going to talk about, coming in at number 12 on my 2016 rankings list, is my highest rated Netflix release, or it's not a Netflix release, but I found it through Netflix, is The Invitation. Like I said, this has been such a phenomenal year for horror, and don't let that turn you off though for this film, because this movie really isn't a horror, I suppose. It's a more of a psychological thriller. So pretty much the premise of this movie is, well, before I get into the premise of it, this movie came out of nowhere, and for a movie to come out of nowhere, because I'm a movie nerd, I'm constantly on Twitter, on YouTube, so I'm very much in the loop about movies, obviously, but The Invitation literally came out of nowhere. It just popped up on Netflix, and then it just caught fire, and people love this film. And like I said, it's not just the horror people either, because a lot of the people I follow on Twitter, I follow a lot of people that are into horror movies like me as well. And so it's not even just horror people, it's just people in general. This movie came out, and it is amazing. It is directed by Kieran Kurosawa. That's a name to look out for, because this movie is ridiculously good direction in this film. And she's a female director. We do not have a lot of those working today. We need to see those films. So we definitely need to support these female directors. But anyways, don't let me get on a tangent there. This film, as a psychological horror, works in so many aspects. So pretty much there is an LA dinner party. You have the two main characters. They used to be in a relationship together. They have broken up. One of them has remarried. The other one has a girlfriend. And the ex-wife and her new husband invite the other ex over, and they bring back all their friends from when they were in a relationship together, because I guess when they broke up, they stopped hanging out with the same friend group. So they bring the old gang back together to have a dinner to introduce everybody to her new husband. Apparently, they were away for 2 years, and they made some shocking realizations or something. They want to share it with everybody. And this film is about as awkward as that sounds. Like I said, imagine being broken up with your ex of a long time. You guys were married, and they had a kid together too. You learn the tragic background of their relationship, but imagine that, and they invite you back to meet the new husband, and they want to have dinner with the old gang. That's a super fucking weird scenario, and that is some shit that only happens out in LA. So put yourself in that situation. This movie does that for you. It has a very awkward, intense atmosphere. Like, just the whole time you feel very uneasy, and you're kind of clenching your jaws, not because it's scary, but like out of the pure awkwardness of the social situations that they're in. This is all in your head. But then the third act of this movie, there's a fucking switch, and this movie goes nuts. It has such a satisfying ending, one of the best endings in 2016. A lot of movies, have really strong first and second acts, but then sometimes kind of stumble in the third act. The third act of this movie, it really sticks the landing. It's one of my highest rated movies of the year. I believe I rated this a 9.7 out of 10. I don't believe in perfect movies, but this movie is pretty damn close. So if you are a fan of horror, you're looking for something to scare you a bit, but at the same time, it's a real thinker movie as well. So if that sounds like something that interests you, definitely check out The Invitation. Kieran Kurosawa, phenomenal director. And that will do it for my Netflix picks of 2016. I hope that I gave you some movie ideas. So like I said, maybe save you a little time when you're sifting through the Netflix and you want to just watch a good movie. Check out any of those 6 movies. They're all fantastic. And I know this episode has mainly been about Netflix, but I want to give a couple Redbox shout outs as well. Redbox, you can surprisingly find some good movies that you can't find online, or that you can't find on Netflix, or movies that were briefly in theaters. You can find some really good indies on Redbox, so I want to give 2 a shout out, because I have 2 Redbox movies that I found in my top 15 of the year. One of them is Indignation. It's my number 14 movie of the year. I won't really get into it, but Logan Lerman, he is an atheist Jew at a Catholic college. That makes no sense, but it is one of the best written and acted films I've seen in a long time. Logan Lerman would get an Oscar nomination if this movie was a little bit bigger. And then you have Kicks. Kicks is my number 6 movie of the year. I absolutely love this film. If you loved movies like Dope or Straight Outta Compton, or if you've seen Moonlight earlier this year, because it is a predominantly urban movie. It's basically a hip-hop odyssey. it's narrated by, popular rap films, and the main protagonist, like freestyles in between scene transitions and stuff. And the way it's shot, it has a lot of slow motion in it, and it takes place in Oakland, in the ghetto of Oakland. And it's about a kid trying to get his shoes back. This film, though, takes you on this journey, and it is fantastic. I don't want to ruin the experience. I want you just to experience it. So if you're standing at Redbox and you're looking for a movie, check out Indignation or Kicks. Those are both fantastic movies. Man, it has been such a good year for movies. Like I said, in 2016, between finding movies on the Redbox, finding movies on Netflix, all the films I've seen in my indie theater. The blockbusters have been hit or miss. I'll say the superhero films were definitely the best of the blockbusters, but if you weren't a Marvel or DC movie, it was probably shit, and even if you were a Marvel or DC movie, it was possibly shit. I'm looking at you, Suicide Squad. But that will go ahead and do it for this episode of Deezus Take the Reel. Episodes come out every Tuesday, so definitely be subscribed to the iTunes feed. But I am also on a bunch of other platforms if you do not have an iPhone. For you non-iPhone peeps, I am now on Google Play Music, I am on Stitcher, and I am on Spreaker. So check out any of those apps, or you can also find it on my YouTube channel at Deezus Live, where you will find the podcast, but you'll also find, movie rants, reviews, shenanigans. I'm going to start posting on my channel a lot more now that I have the podcast up and running very smoothly, so be on the lookout for that. But that will go ahead and do it for this episode of Deezus Take the Reel. I can't really preview next week's episode because I don't know what's going to happen. It'll probably be a solo Christmas episode, most likely. And follow me on Twitter at Deezus12, not only for Deezus Take the Reel podcast updates, but it's my personal Twitter, and I think it's pretty fire. I think I tweet some pretty funny shit from time to time, but I don't know. Be the judge of that yourself. I'll catch you guys later, motherfuckers.